Our first report is from ABC's Jim Wooten.
After $500 million campaign dollars spent on nearly 1,000 candidates, nothing much has really changed. Democrats slightly padded their congressional majorities, 8 more in the House, 1 more in the Senate, but not nearly enough to override any presidential vetoes. Republican Boschwitz of Minnesota was the only incumbent senator beaten yesterday, upset by Democratic liberal Paul Wellstone. And despite energetic presidential campaigning in the 3 biggest governor's races, Democrats took 2 of 3, most important for reapportionment. Lawton Chiles beat Republican Governor Martinez in Florida. Democrat Ann Richards took Texas over Republican Clayton Williams. But Republican Senator Pete Wilson won the biggest state prize, California, over Democrat Dianne Feinstein. The overall governor's scorecard shows Democrats still prevailing 28-20, with 2 governorships going to independents yesterday, Lowell Weicker in Connecticut and Wally Hickel in Alaska. Tax revolts cost Democratic Governor Blanchard his seat in Michigan and put a serious scare into New Jersey Senator Bill Bradley's presidential hopes, even though he eventually won. What was most fascinating about the voting was what did not happen. Today's government across the country is about the same as it was yesterday, because most incumbents still tend to get reelected, especially to the Congress, and governors are vulnerable only if they have problems with money issues, though not always. No wonder then that on this day after, both parties are claiming victory, sort of. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
There was no clear national trend on the abortion issue. Our exit polling showed that abortion was the main issue in 3 important races: for governor in Florida, the Senate race in Iowa, and a congressional seat in Virginia. Candidates in favor of a woman's right to choose won in all 3, but in 32 other races in which abortion played a large part, there was a split. Anti-abortion candidates won 15, and candidates who favored choice won 17. As we say, it wasn't the only issue. There was S&Ls and taxes and the Persian Gulf. There is quite a lot of anxiety out there. Here's ABC's Lynn Scher.
This was the election where the voters were supposed to be angry, where they were going to focus their fury over taxes. And so they did in some states, notably Nebraska, where Governor Kay Orr lost because she raised taxes. But taxes weren't the only or even the most critical motivation. They were simply part of the larger issue highest on the minds of most voters yesterday: money. In our exclusive ABC News poll of voters yesterday, we asked about the most important problem facing the country. Nearly 2/5, 37%, said national economic issues. The confrontation with Iraq did not seem to affect votes. Voters were also concerned about their state economy, and that did affect votes and incumbents. Of the 14 turnovers in governor's races, most can be explained by voters' discontent with the condition of the state economy. Look at what happened in Michigan. According to the pooled network exit poll, more than 60% believe the economy there is doing badly, and they went for John Engler, the challenger, 60-40. Engler is now the governor-elect. In normally Democratic Massachusetts, a whopping 95% rated the state economy as bad, and they went for the Republican, William Weld, who won the race. Anger over the state economy even narrowed the victory margins for some incumbents thought to be shoo-ins. Not only Senator Bradley of New Jersey, but also Mario Cuomo, governor of New York. We saw in our poll a growing sense of voter dissatisfaction with the way elected officials are handling things. And while the message was not one of open rebellion, it was certainly a warning to all politicians. Lynn Scher, ABC News, New York.
Protecting the environment and paying for it were not popular yesterday. In California, Proposition 128, a sweeping set of environmental regulations called Big Green, lost big, nearly 2-1. And propositions to further tighten the safeguards on the environment were also defeated in Washington, Oregon, Missouri, and in New York. And as you may know from your own state, there were a lot of different propositions on various ballots. Among the most popular, those to limit the terms of politicians. They passed in California, Kansas City, and Colorado. In Colorado, a proposition holding any state politician to 8 consecutive years in office was the biggest vote getter on the ballot. And finally, there's no winner yet in the race for governor of Arizona. There were several candidates, and no one got the necessary 50%, so there will be a runoff. Arizona voters turned down a proposal to make Martin Luther King's birthday a state holiday. As a result, today, the commissioner of the National Football League recommended that the 1993 Super Bowl scheduled to be played in Phoenix be played somewhere else.